So in the middle of the first Mamshich Ba'amayim, correction, the Aleph base Gimel that you see there, what that is what they have added to the Maamorim from the Maamorim of Shabbos of Friday night.
So it's not a third Maamorim.
We don't have three Maamorim, but this is the third Maamorim woven into it. Right? That's what they said. Let me just go back to the first hour. The Maamorim of Basit Legani was Friday that we didn't get. This Maamorim was said Matzai Shabbos, but then they tell us in the beginning of Tzidkas. Oh, I'm sorry, at the beginning of this Maamorim, they tell us that previous to Maamorim, Basit Legani Friday night, Tzidkas Pirzoni of Yom Shabbos we didn't get, except from the beginning of Tzidkas Pirzoni, which we learned. What did they get? The Inyanim, which are differences between the first Maamorim and the second. The first and the second. And they, V'shuv b'Maamorim zeh v'shuli agilyon ba'odas al alabase, al seder alabase. So that's woven into this Maamorim below the line, indicated by Aleph Beis Gimel. So what do they weave into this Maamorim? The difference between the first Maamorim and the second. So the first Maamorim was Bosi, Legani, and the Vada, and this is not clear. The second Maamorim was Tzidkas Pirzoni.
Pretty good. I heard yesterday the first, second, third Maamorim were all Bosi Leganis, but that's because
Yeah, no, that's clear. Friday night was Bosi. Yeah.
The only thing we have in the second one is
Yeah, but no, but he's saying here they did weave into it the differences. Good morning, Moishe. So the Maamorim Aleph is Bosi Legani. I'm not sure if they mean Maamorim base the second Bosi Legani, or they mean Tzidkas Pirzoni. They means the second Bosi Legani. What? Yeah, obviously he's the one that used to write it. Oh,
the bottom keeps going down the Maamorim here.
Yeah, they're saying, but you don't hear what I'm asking. When he says Bein Maamorim Aleph Lebeis, does it mean the first Bosi Legani or the second, or the Friday night or the Shabbos day? It sounds like the first Bosi Legani and the second Bosi Legani. So the first one, all we have is these annotations which we have woven into the text as Aleph Beis below the line. In Pashtus, it definitely means that, because this is all on the Bosi Legani component. But the problem is only Shabbos day, the Maamorim then started off with Tzidkas Pirzoni, and then he went into Bosi Legani. That also there's a Bosi Legani Shabbos day. So where's the Chedushim of that one? Is that what they mean by Maamorim Beis? Because that's also Bosi Legani, or do they mean the second Bosi Legani? It's not clear. Either way, this is the best I came up with, so we're going with it. Okay, we're in the middle of Mamshich, the first Mamshich Ba'amayim, as the Rabbi continues to give us an overview, as it were, of the Maamorim till Ois Yudalid. So he spoke about the Mishkan, the Kavon is V'shachanti B'soicham. How do you do that? That's the Mishkan within each person. The point being to Mahapech, the Shtus, and the Sheker. V'hinei, we can start from what? just below the number 18, v'hinei. Yeah. Given Shavodi Lesakin Tzashtus Lamatim and Aseichel, since the avoid is we have to fix the shtus that is below Seichel. The avoid that Seichel is Boifan Amasim, Le'inyin Shetzichim Letakim. When you the avoid that you're trying to fix something, it has to be appropriate to that which you're fixing. Meaning, you cannot fix Lamatim and Aseichel with Seichel, because it doesn't respond. So the avodah which is hide in seichel, that can address the avodah, or the matzav of lower than seichel, and fix it and channel it. As illustrated in Halach, it's like the Rambam Sechel Hilchos Deis. There he writes there about what is the normative path that a person should choose, and says, even though the straight path at the outset is not to be extreme in any direction, but the middle path. So that's all true if a person didn't transgress, he goes into the same. If he went to the other extreme, negatively speaking, it's not enough to take the middle path. You have to go to the other extreme, at least temporarily. Like a sapling that is not growing straight, you can't just put it to the center. You got to temporarily tie it to a stick that is the other extreme, and then it'll straighten out. How much more so the shtus of lumazeh and sheker ha'olam. It's alachas kama v'kama. Why is it alachas kama v'kama? Because first we spoke about the individual, and now we're speaking about the shpachlal, the shtus of lumazeh, the sheker of the world. This is big. This is the olam gadol. So shekadei lasis mizeh mishkan lo yizbarech, to take all of this and make it a dwelling place for Hashem. How does it dafka yidei avodah shlamali mitamadah? So you have to meet it on its own terms, as it were. Extremity. Extremes require extreme measures. So it has to be the avodah of lamali mitamadas, lamayla afilu miseichel v'tamadas kedusha, even higher than seichel. But even seichel of kedusha is not enough. And this is illustrated in the Gemara in Ksubis, which the Maamorim went into great detail. That Rabbi Huda Bar Eloi used to dance before the Kala and juggle 3 hadassim. And Rabbi Zayda said that you are embarrassing us. And then when he died, remember, this pillar of fire separated between him and everybody else. And Rabbi Zayda said, that his folly that we were critical of, this in fact, quote unquote, helped him. And this is an avodah which is beyond, not less, but beyond. We learned in the Maamorim, we learned all the diyukim, the one who danced with 1 hadas, 3 hadas, why dafka by a chasana. Does this happen? Remember all those biyurim over the years. And the 3 pirushim in the word shtus that the Gemara brings, shita, shtus, and the first pirush, shita, the meaning the actual reed, the branch, yeah. All of these diyukim, even his name, Huda Bar Eloi, were all explained by the Rebbe over the years. It's understood therefore, so from this it's understood, continuing the summary of the Maamorim, those who can do this, not implying that some people can't, but it's not the implication. He's just saying those that can do this are called, they are called God's hosts. So this is from the previous Maamorim. This is what Yidden were called, and they went up Mitzrayim. Why is that significant? Because that sets the whole thing in motion. And what's Matan Torah? Torah is instructions as to how to serve God, and what's the chlal of it all? Hence, being called Tzivas Hashem, this is the designation that begins this whole avodah of Shtus Kedusha. What's the end of Tzivas Hashem? The soldiers. What's the union of the soldiers of the army? In brackets, hide and seichel, in order to achieve victory. Gimel, kechol gimel perushim shebetzava, in accordance with all three pirushim of the word tzava. Do you recall what they were? Tzivim, which means, it wasn't clear. Actually, we looked up the Gemara. Tzivim actually means desire. Tzovi, in the Ksuba. That the simple meaning of the Gemara is the tzivyoinam nivru, that every creature was created according to its desire, like it was kind of masculine to be created that way, whatever that means. It's not how the Maamorim teaches it at all. The Maamorim teaches it as yiskalulos, as different colors, harmony, achdus. That was the third pirush. What was that, the two pirushim? The first one's obvious, tzava, soldier, so we're talking, and the middle, the other pirush was, the preciousness of every moment, and every moment is a creation and is waiting to be used and was given to be used in the avodah. So this is what the Rabbi said in one of the previous Maamorim, that when we're talking about Anshit Tzov, we mean all three pirushim, as explained at length in the previous years. There's no other way. The victory is assured. The only way is to go in with Mesiras Nefesh. Did you guys see the clip of the Golani Chevra before they went in?
Like they were circle in a circle.
The commanders in the center. You saw it? Huh?
The lodge, there were a lot of these.
Yeah. This is what we're talking about here, but the absolute highest level of Bagashmi is possible. Huh? Yep. And the Besimcha. And this is the union of every Jew. We're all called Tzivas Hashem. Like it says in Tanya, even the lightest of the light, literally. He's ready, he says in Tanya, history brought this out, to give up his life on Kiddush Hashem. It just occurs to me, the Lashon Kal Shebakalim is not a virtuous description. In Pashtus, Kal Shebakalim, the lightest of the light, lacking substance. But Pnimius, Adarabah, Kal Shebakalim, where does this come from, this Mesiras Nefesh? There's no yeshes, there's no heaviness at all. It's the supreme lightness of being, where the chelik alakamim al mamish is invested. That's rumors in these words, Kal Shebakalim. I don't know if it's Siddur in Hebrew, Siddur, but it just occurred to me as we were saying it. Because that's in Pashtus. In Pashtus, it means the ignorant Jew, etc. You're saying, but Pnimius, he's called Kal Shebakalim because of Adarabah the Maila. It's not the simple meaning at all. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. Mamshich Levaya, where are we up to now in our summary? Perek Yud Aleph. In order to achieve the victory, there's the treasure that's given from above. Like a war down here. of an earthly king of flesh and blood. Even those treasures that he didn't touch till now, not only his treasures, of the treasures that were amassed by his forebearers. They're so precious to the king. Maamorim doesn't even show them. So that's Bechlal. But for the war, to achieve victory, the king himself puts his life in danger on the front, and squanders all of his treasures, and the treasures that his ancestors had amassed. To which he achieves victory. Daled. He just said, in order for the Nitzorach HaMelchama, so why is this different than any other agenda that the king has? He explains in his Daled, because when the state is threatened, its very existence is being threatened, this brings out the tachlis, the kavana, the state should exist, should be inyan atzmi. And this is negeya higher than his seichel. It touches, it comes from a place higher than his seichel. This survival of the state at all costs. That's why he'll do things which are not logical, and that is levaz v'sa'itris. Without a cheshbon, and for every aspect of the victory, it's all thrown out. It's all looking for a good word for bizbuz, but squander. Okay, we get the idea. Binyan was continuing now in the third. You have a different again layout tonight. Okay. So what does he explain? That that Nitzochen mitzad midas hanetzach. Nitzochen is the mid of netzach. Now, even though like everything comes in irony, the body of the nefesh is the first three. Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes. Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malchus is levar migufa, the words of the Zohars, outside the body. They're not the person, his personality. They're just how to achieve, they're called auxiliary. In order to achieve that which the seichel and the heart wants, you have to have perseverance, nitzochen, and these complementary or auxiliary faculties of the nefesh. But like everything, what is lower is rooted deeper. And even on the tzochen, midas hanetzach is levar migufa. It's rooted in the etzem hanefesh, deeper even than the seichel and the midas, which are the body. That's the self. That's the person. As he says now this is a whole sugya in Chassidus, but what just stated, that reaches the depth of the soul very much, very deep. The lochein doesn't go into further detail. So therefore, the greater the person is, the mitzvah nitzochen is ever deeper. Any Talmud Chacham does not take Noikim means take revenge. V'noita means hold a grudge. Kanach, like a snake, in the Talmud Chacham. This is midas hanitzochem. That do away with all the niceties. We've got to get to the finish line.
What's the context of the singing this?
When
Talmud Chacham,
we keep on reading a little bit. This is the dinyan of nitzochem. And he adds in the brackets, but the vengeance and the grudge must be according to the conditions in his body. So there the Gemara goes into Arichas, but surely a person, bottom line is that surely a person who forgives his insult, he brings psukim there, Rabbi brings this in Tanya. Ketzes Hashem b'gvorosoi. And they love him, those that are insulted but do not respond. Ve'ena meshivim. That's the biggest milah. The Nekuda is, if it's his own covered, then of course not. But it's covered at Torah, then there's a holding him back. There's some fascinating illustrations of this in our generation. That a portion from the Rebbe Lubavitch, covered Lubavitch. On that, there was no compromise. No compromise. Full public, what's what I'm looking for? Public protest, opposition, exposure. When it comes to the Eibush is covered Shemaim, covered Lubavitch. So you have to know exactly when and where. It's very easy, it's not me, it's covered Atera, he's a Talmid Chacham. So you can fool yourself very easily there. But there is this inyan of Mitzvah Nitzochen, which means no stopping. Anything in the way, get just mowed over, plowed through. And Melchama needs that. If the Melchama is going to be with niceties, first of all, you're endangering your own soldiers. Be makriv your own soldiers. And secondly, even for the other side, long term, for the other side, greater damage, greater loss of life. It has to be swiftly, business off, completely. And that's the way to secure victory, which in the end is for the benefit of everyone. The ultimate victory is the transformation of the enemy into an ally. But if it's going to be a soft approach without mitzvah nitzochen, that is the biggest downfall. That leads to further bloodshed and protracts the milchama, drags it out, as we've seen for decades and decades and decades. Why? Because it's missing mitzvah nitzochen. Over and over again, they were missing it. As the Rebbe screamed, I remember it, the pain that the Rebbe had. I remember once he said, speaking about loss of life of the other side. End of the day, God's creatures, this one kavanah. You're doing nobody any favors. Adara. Let's continue. What is it in 26? Yeah, that's the Gemara and then the Poskim that give these conditions of when the Talmid Chacham and how will take revenge, which will deal with the grievance, with the insult. Again, the Nekuda is when it's covered Shemayim. What's wrong with that? Because for the obvious reasons, it also becomes an example for others. That they will take Yiddishkeit and Hashem's word not seriously, undermining the whole purpose. So that's a Talmid Chacham. Much more so Melech Shinyonahu Shemeshichmai or Ma'ila Gevei Mikolam. This is a reference to Shaul, the first Jewish king, that his shoulder was above everybody else. The Gashmis, he was a tall, imposing man. And Baruch this explains that his midas, shoulders, these are the Chesed and Gvura, was on the level of everybody else's seichel. Huh? That she brings it there. Yeah. So much more so the Melech, yeah. And also the Sorim, which are devoted to the king. So by him, the Midas and Nitzochen has to be with the absolute intensity, because, as you said before, the higher a person is, the more he appreciates and is expressive of, therefore, the Kavon El Yoinda, the greater the Nitzochen, the Midas and Nitzochen, to see it through. The more he understands the value of what this is all about, and therefore the greater the Nitzachin, the less negotiation. Because the more he appreciates how critical this is. If you don't appreciate it, okay, so it's arbitrary. And therefore, it's in Yafilo, it's a Shalei to Shuram, Ayin Adam, even the treasures that no eye had seen, Ashureno means to see. Interesting expression. This is only in this Maamorim. Not only does he open them and give them, again, this diaction, gives them without a cheshbon. And gives them through the Sori. This is important. The Sori Apkidim, Shem Pekidi Achoil, they are the officers. The Rebbe is saying, there's still a Seder. There's a Seder of Mashpiyim, Meshluchim, Rabbonim. It's not everybody's title. You'll get the Oitzeres, but follow the instructions. Important caveats here. As you said earlier in the previous Maamorim, that the Sori Apkidim have to have permeated also the same Mesiras Nefesh as the simple foot soldier. By them, most has to be Lamalim and Aseichel, even though they understand the tactic. The tactics of war. The kavona, the end is of these treasures is the Anshe Achayil. Shehem dafka oisim as in Nitzachon Zdei that affect the victory. Behind us, Avshe Pekide, them is the Pekide Achol of the Rabbeim. That's we're not in the mind. That's who they are. But relatively speaking, it's the teachers, the Yeshiva Oil are not out there in the world, engaged in the world. That's Proteus. Bechlolis, he said it goes into the Rebbeim. Even though the Pekidi Achayil, the officers. So they, Monochim, means they're immersed in. And they know the whole wisdom in the strategy, the tactics of war. So they know all that. Because as the Nitzachim, but who actually affected a manche achayil, it's the foot soldier, shemoisim nafshem bepoyel. There's a meis nefesh bepoyel. Commission Mavaya Gam Besim Hemshach Elulki says at the end of the 20th Perek, the end of the Perek you test, the 19th Perek. Zem movements understood Shekadei Shebnei Yisrael Yuchol Netzach b'Milchama, in order that Yidden should be able to be victorious in the Milchama. La'afich es HaSheker Ha'olam, to transform the lie of the world. V'lasis v'menu kroshim leMishkan, turn the lie of the world into the boards of the Mishkan. Shebo Yiyin v'Shachanti, in which Hashem will dwell, in Noisim Lamelamayla. So what it's understood therefore that what's given to the Jew to effect all Kavana v'Shachanti. What's given to him is not only profound revelations and inspiration. Revelation means inspiration. It's a conscious, inspiring, descriptive experience. He's given that, but more than that. He's given such in Yonim. What's the parallel down here? Is a hidden treasure. It's komos, it's hidden and sealed from the eye of any viewer. He's given atzmis dike koiches. This is who I am. This is not experiential, not descriptive. He's given the Eitze, this atzmis dike inyonim, azoya nicht anders, this way and no other way, higher than choice. It's who I am. Let's see now the additions of Hey and Vav. So he said in Hey that he's given the inyonim, what's the, like an oitzer. Hey, fasayde bezehu, shetchilas hamshoche beifen shen nekuda. This is tying into the Maamorim of Shabbos day. First, he's given the nekuda shuina mesiras nefesh. That's the nekuda of mesiras nefesh. And then it's open. Sure, the process canal, like we explained at length in the Maamorim of Tzidkas Pirzoinoi, Beifen the Faratsto, it's opposite the Nakuda. The Nakuda then manifests, Beifen the Faratsto, Yom Avakim, V'Safein Vanegba. This Nakuda Mesiras Nefesh permeates and spreads in every expression of consciousness of life in the world. It starts as a Nakuda. Doesn't remain in the bowels of his neshama, but this I am a Yid is expressed in every aspect of his life and the world ultimately. Yeah, that's clear. What did he say in the end? So he's given the Eitzah, which is higher than the highest Gilui. Let's have a look. It's understood, therefore, that if his avodah is the highest levels of Giluyim inspiration, and it's such, he ad in ketz vad in tachlis, and he's inexhaustible. It's quoting from the Zohar, the Ein Sof is the mind of the ketz vad in tachlis. So even if his avodah is on that level, he's an endless source of inspiration. To put it in simple language, that's what Giluy means. Ein ze maspik adai. It's not enough. It's got to be the core I, not I'm inspired. Shari kol zeh inyan shel erv Giluy, that's still Giluy. Maybe it's the ones you. Kiven shel malamayla nimshach inyan naili yosim erv Giluy. Since the Eibush is giving something beyond revelation, his own essence, in other words. Tzarich li is gam kein, it's like his kein gam lamata. It has to be the same thing down here. Shetzadikim doim lebeir, and we reflect him. And the avodah has to be mitzad ha'etzem. The matter is as follows. Shegam b'madreges tzadikim, even the tzadik, I mean, can't fault the person. It's all good. It's perfect. If at the end of the day it's experiential, it's inspiring, it's tam v'das, and he's ebetzir ametzir shaloi, so it's still him. That's what oir means. Oir means something that is experienced, that illuminates. Illuminates what? Ametzias, the mind, the heart, is filled. So it's his metzias. As soon as you say oir, you're saying it's filling something. So what's it filling? The metzias of the person, etc. Seichel, tam, v'das. So that's not enough. It's got to be mitzad yizetz. That's oir. His heart, his seichel. It's got to be completely beyond medidus vakbolish. Avidus udavken likras. Right? The Gemara in Broches, the Marsha, the famous beer in Chassidus. To remind you, remember, the Gemara says that if Eistin Etzeni Shemokim, then Mlachtach Anases al Deyacherim. Shnem Mevom Do Zorim Barot Zoincha. Or Zoinam. So the Marsha asks, but it says, V'hoi Mishmer Tishmo. And you'll gather in your that's bizmancha ein oisen etzene shamakim. That's why mishmar tishmu. The Gemara says that's called ein oisen etzene shamakim. The answer is not b'chol ma'itcha. The emes rotzen is b'chol ma'itcha. It's not b'chol ma'itcha, then it's not malach in asas like the achirim. Clear? It's good, but it's not godly. V'oidzois and further. Shazam yam b'siris nefesh. V'oidzois shingin zeh loidak b'pchinas mahadrin mina mahadrin. It's not just mahadrin means to say it's nice, but if you don't do it, you still yaitze. It's not like icing on the cake. The avodah of b'chol ma'itcha. You can achieve victory. It's not going to be mitzad etzem and neshama. Shadilul zois without the avodah b'chol ma'itcha yochel liyes inyan shelu umazeh besuga yoseh tacht. This allows for the opposite and the lowest level. You want to hear what the lowest level is? Vishmavai ba'amayim be'perek Gimel, which is we're leading up to Shef Shechalila Shebekayach HaTorah. He exploits Torah. Oymed dvar halacha shehepach HaTorah. He says that dvar Torah, halacha, which is again, that's the lowest level, is exploiting Torah for a conclusion which is hepach HaTorah. We'll stop here. I don't want to rush this. We'll continue that Be'ez Hashem. What's tomorrow? Friday, so stay in touch. I think we're davening later.